so even if I'm less all over the place, I also, dude, go lay down. This is going to be a difficult video. I can feel it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie, and today we are comparing the Dyson V7 Animal to the Dyson V11 Animal. I did not ask this guy to join me, he just did. But this guy is a good example of why several years ago I decided to invest in the Dyson V7 Animal. It has worked wonderfully, it's been amazing, it still works great. I don't think I have to say this, I am brand new to YouTube, but this is not a sponsored video. I am not being paid to say this, but I love Dyson. That is my own opinion. I did a lot of research. I had my eye on this one for a while, and about 3 or 4 years ago, I saw it on sale at Sam's. Sam's and Costco both often have really good deals on Dysons, and I saw it, I snagged it up, and we've never looked back. It filled a very specific need. I no longer felt like I had to work up the energy to vacuum the house and find outlets and run cords. This just completely changed the game for us. It's a lot easier to just grab it when you need it. Dude, you're embarrassing me. Dude, I would rather you not display all your bits to the internet. Yeah, you. Thank you. So part of what we will go over with the V7 is how I feel the parts have held up, any flaws or any wish list items after having this for several years. And I hope that that will help you out because this is still something you can get a great deal on. The V11 is still pretty much brand new out of the box, except we do have a little bit of dust inside the canister from me taking it for its first test spin this morning. I was very, very excited. I took videos that we'll go over. I took some notes. So I'm very, very excited to compare these two and hopefully help you guys know which one is right for you. I'm already anticipating having a very difficult time editing this because I feel like I'm going to be very chatty because I'm very excited about these vacuums and I love them and I want you guys to know all that I know about them. And so if I'm just spitting information at you, grab what you can. As I said, the Dyson V7 Animal was my original baby. Pretty quickly, we transitioned to a different type of environment, and then we got a bunch of dogs, and my needs for cleaning materials significantly changed. I did a lot of research, became very, very interested in this, and once I had been thinking about it long enough, I finally pulled the trigger. It came with all of the tools you see here, in addition to a crevice tool and a charger and charging station that we currently have in our pantry. The tools I used the most when I initially got my Dyson were the motor head, the mini motor head, the crevice tool, a puppy chewed up a little while back. Thank you. So those were pretty much the three that I used religiously all the time, and they're so easy to click in and out, just swap back and forth. Before I sell this, I do intend to replace the crevice tool because it is a very desirable tool, and I think it will up the value of this enough that it's worth paying the money to buy a new one. So have not done that yet. In place of the crevice tool, the tool that I have been using most to serve a similar purpose, not quite the same, is the combination tool. It is called the combination tool because it serves two purposes. It has just this tip if you want, and it's angled, so it actually gets to quite a few places. It's really, really nice, and this is locked in place. If you click this button, pull up until it clicks, then it's not going anywhere, and now you have a brush head. And it is also angled, which really helps to get into some cool places, and it's a lot softer, so you don't need to worry about scratching anything up. So I have really loved this. I feel like I would have used it more had I not been so in love with the crevice tool, especially because of the brush. Yeah, I don't know why. I just always reached for this, but this is really handy. So like say doing the corners of walls or where the walls meet the ceilings, you can use this. It's angled very nicely, so it's convenient, but the brush keeps it from scratching up your paints or the other surfaces. So I have really enjoyed this lately. I believe what the V7 comes with has changed slightly over the past couple years. Last I checked their website to kind of make sure I was using the right terminology for this stuff. This is not what they give you. They give you like a soft roller, soft brush, something. I don't remember what they call it, but it's not this. So this is another floor attachment. It's just significantly more basic than the motor head. I've just never had a need for it, so I think maybe I tried it once or twice, if that. I've just always reached for the motor head, and I love it, and it works great. It goes between different types of surfaces really, really well. One thing I mentioned in my V11 unboxing is a lesson I have learned now as I've become more minimalist and simplistic, is that just because you invest in a set, that doesn't mean that you need to keep everything in a set, especially if it's just taking up space and not serving a purpose for you. I have not gotten rid of this. The other one I haven't used is this. I can definitely see a purpose, but I've just, with these others, I haven't needed it. By the time I learned this lesson that it's not worth keeping things just because it comes in a set, it was within a couple months of me thinking I would be selling this, in which case that's an amount of time I deem appropriate to hang on to these extra items I haven't been using for the sake of increasing the value. But when I know that the new vacuum will last me for many years, that time is not worth holding on to those things, especially brand new. I already know that if there are any attachments that I don't think I will use, that I don't think will serve a purpose, then brand new, those will still get me some money, and I don't have to feel as bad about getting rid of them. And I'm not just getting rid of them or throwing them out. They're going to serve a purpose for someone else. Maybe someone else's puppy chewed their attachments and they're looking for a replacement that's not quite as expensive as purchasing one through Dyson or through Amazon. Then you can still get some money, not feel so bad. You're not using up all the space. So I fully intend to sell some of those versus these. I have kept and will keep until I sell this. A couple things I have loved so much about this is how portable it is, how versatile it is. Like I said, it comes with so many different attachments. Some of them serve similar purposes, and that's why I haven't used them, but for the most part they all serve a slightly different purpose, so you can really make this work for you. You can make this a long vacuum, you can make this a handheld, whatever you need. I've really liked the canister feature. I like not having to keep bags on hand. It's not as sustainable. This, I can literally just pull this up and it drops and everything just drops right out. Really easy. I didn't know that was so important to me until I had that. So I have absolutely loved the canister function. I love how light this is, just how quick it is to do a job. I like that there are multiple settings for suction. So there is a regular setting. When this is fully charged and on the regular setting, it tends to last for about a half an hour, which for me is sufficient. If a task takes longer than that, then I'm less likely to want to do it. One thing about this is it makes it really easy to do smaller cleaning tasks more frequently, and then I don't have to do the larger, less desirable cleaning tasks nearly as much because I've kept up my house so much more. So in terms of the regular setting, I have not found an issue with the battery. The max section setting, however, is where I have really struggled with the battery life lately. When I'm on max, it maybe lasts for 10 to 15 minutes, if that, and then it doesn't charge up real fast. That was one of the first things that made me think that the newer version would be a good investment and worth it for us, as much as this is still working great. I'm not sure if the amount of time it is lasting me is because it's like a phone where over time the battery just doesn't last as long with a full charge, or yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or if it's because at the old house we pretty much just had wood floors, versus here we have carpeting throughout the majority of both levels of the house. So I'm not sure if it's just that with the carpeting I'm finding more reasons to use the Max. If anything spills, I want to make sure I'm getting into the fibers of the carpet. Before shampooing the carpets, I want to make sure I'm pulling up as much dirt from those fibers because it's a fairly shaggy carpet. It might just be I don't have to be using the Max that much, and I do just for peace of mind, but even if that's all it is, I don't feel like that's too much to ask. If I feel better having more suction more frequently, I don't think it should have to take most of the day by the time I'm vacuuming on Max, putting it on the charger, it's finally charging, I'm using more of it again on Max, giving it time to charge it. By the time I'm done with Max vacuuming the entire house, it feels like it's taken all day, and that just doesn't seem right to me. Again, as much as I love this, I will talk it up all the time. I've been so happy with this. I can't make this up. My husband offers to vacuum. He volunteers. This got him excited to vacuum, and it got me excited to vacuum. It made it a much easier task for us. Especially on Max, I have not found an issue with the suction power. I didn't think I had an issue with the suction power. We'll get back into that when we get to the V11. I liked the suction power, just the battery life hasn't really worked with that power very well. I'm afraid I missed something. Any qualms I've had with this, I'm pretty sure have just been because, I mean, it's almost 4 years old, and I would still say the use I've gotten out of it and everything it has done for me has been worth it. It was worth the initial investment. I think it would still be worth the investment, especially because it's significantly lower now if you find a deal at like Sam's or Costco. Because this is now several generations old, those are my honest opinions. Again, that is multiple years later, so the battery issue may not be an issue for a while. Even if I got the V7 brand new when we were in this house, I feel like it probably, no. The battery is probably just over time that naturally happens. I think if I got this vacuum brand new while living in this house or a house with this much carpet, I think it would have worked fine. I think I would still love it, absolutely love it, and absolutely recommend it. With that, let's move on to the V11. I will give you my initial thoughts, especially after my test runs today, and then we'll probably discuss more on this in comparison to the V11. This is the Dyson V11 Animal. Initially, some differences you will see is obviously it's a different color. It's very pretty. It's kind of in between a Chiefs red and an Alabama crimson, so our household is very happy with that. You can probably guess just from the size difference in the main handheld portion that's probably going to be a little bit heavier just because this is bigger. I believe it's listed at about 2 pounds heavier, which to me isn't a big deal. The V7 was already pretty light, so I think you can afford to have the 2 pounds and still have it feel really easy to maneuver, whether you're using it as a stick, as a handheld vacuum, whatever you need. The nice thing about having a larger handheld portion is the canister size is a little bit bigger, so you can go a little bit longer before you have to empty it. For the most part, the mechanics behind how the canister opens is the same, it's just located different. The V11 does have a HEPA filter, which the V7 does not, so some added filtration with that. Another big difference with the handheld portion is the display. instead of having just the switch to flip it from regular to max, this one has eco, auto, and boost, which is flipped through with a button on a much nicer display. It looks very cool, and unlike the V7, you can see how much battery life you have left, which I love. Not only was I struggling with the V7 not having enough battery life, but I was also struggling not knowing where I was, especially with Max. It seemed like sometimes it lasted a little bit longer than other times, so it was always a little bit of a guessing game how much time I had with the vacuum, especially when I was using it on Max. And then this is supposed to be at least twice the amount of battery life as the V7, which just from testing it out this morning, I feel like I can attest to. With how much testing I did, even being on regular, I know that what I did this morning, I would be down to half, if not less, battery life. I was going about 15-20 minutes this morning trying different surfaces. This one, the battery life image didn't go down at all. So I'm already very excited about the battery life on this, but it's supposed to be, and just the little bit that I experienced this morning, it has me very excited. And I just love that I can see what I'm working with. It's not a guessing game how much battery I have left. I think upon looking, that's really the main differences. One thing I really wish I caught on camera for my unboxing video is I had stopped recording, and then my sister and I had the best reaction to finding out that the battery comes out. The benefits that I see to that is if you do have a larger home and you do need more battery to get through your entire home for vacuuming, then you can have two on hand, so one is always charged. You go through one, as soon as that one's done, you grab the other. Instead of waiting for the entire vacuum to charge, you just grab the second already charged battery, put the dead one on the charger once you grab that one, and there's always one charging and ready to go. So I think that's awesome. My home isn't big enough, I don't think, for that. But then also on, say, the V7, where I feel like after a couple years, the Max is just draining the battery so fast. Instead of having to get a new vacuum, it's a lot easier to order a brand new battery, which is significantly cheaper, that because it's brand new, it will still hold its charge like your vacuum did from day one. So a lot of benefits to this, but again, we did not catch our reactions on camera. They were magnificent. We get very excited over little things. Oh my God.
So pretty.
Oh, it moves.
What?
Okay, this is how you say. So we were tickled pink, let's just say that. I'm not going to go through each of these tools with you. I already, in my unboxing video, showed you each one. I talked through my initial thoughts on whether I thought I would use them or not, if I thought they had a purpose that some of the tools from the V7 didn't provide, or if they were ones that I thought maybe kind of served a similar purpose as another one. I probably wouldn't use it, but again, check out that video for my full thoughts on the tools, and then make sure you're subscribed to me on YouTube. I will definitely do a follow-up review on the Dyson V11 Animal once I've had a chance to try out all of the tools. I did not try them out this morning. I really focused this morning on the feeling of the slightly heavier weight in my hand, the power difference, the battery life difference, kind of those main key initial first impression type things. Let me show you the ones that I already foresee being ones I will use, because they do look a lot like the ones that I use from the V7. These three, from what I can tell, are identical. Let's start with the crevice tool, which is not chewed up by a puppy. That one looks absolutely identical. The combination tool looks identical, just a little bit newer. So it works the exact same way. They didn't modify anything. The bristles seem exactly the same. The mini motor head looks identical, except the bristles look slightly different. So I'm not sure if they think this is an improvement on the other ones or what, but those are the only difference that I can really see with this tool. So I'm really excited to continue using those tools because I had great success with them. I don't really have any desire to change anything. I wasn't using them and thinking, man, I wish they did this or they were shaped differently in this way or anything like that. I really, really liked these tools, so I'm happy they are here again, and they're pretty much identical because why fix what's not broken? This is called the high torque cleaner head, but it looks very, very similar to the motor head from the V7. A couple key differences is the bristles do look different again, like they made some improvements to that. A little bit of differences in the rollers, how it glides across the carpet. And then just a little bit of difference in this kind of back section. This is more rubbery as opposed to the other one was solid. It was a little hard to clean around. You could take it apart so it wasn't too difficult to clean. This one still manages to, I hadn't actually looked this close yet. This looks a lot easier to clean actually. It looks like the rubber might make it easier to glide on the carpet as well. So just a few little things here and there. For the most part, it looks pretty similar to the motor head. One little feature I'm confused about is they have a feature. It looks like the type of feature on a normal vacuum where you select high pile, low pile, that kind of thing. The thing that confuses me about that is this is advertised and all of the information they have on their website pretty much shows the same feature for this as with the Motorhead, in that it automatically adjusts its power and how it works based on the surface you're on. So you can go back and forth from hard surfaces, carpets, and not have to change anything. You just go from one to the other and it automatically adjusts. So if it's supposed to do the exact same thing as the Motorhead, which the Motorhead did great with, when I tested this out this morning, it also did really, really good with. If it automatically adjusts, why can you change from plus to minus? Does that mean high pile, low pile? Does that mean something different? That's something that so far I haven't been able to find an answer for online. If that is something you guys have any information on, please make sure to comment down below. I would love to hear any information you guys have on it. The hose portion, if you compare it to the one from the V7, this one is shorter. However, the whole thing still feels longer than the V7 because even if the hose is shorter, you still have the larger, longer handheld portion. And then I think this might even be slightly longer as well. So just using this, trying one and then the other, this still feels a little bit longer, even if the hose side by side next to the V7 one, even if this is shorter, it doesn't feel like I'm bending over to use this vacuum. All right, so let's talk through some of the tests I did this morning. I will be showing you some video clips. It is really hard to show carpet on camera. I did some befores and afters. I hope you can still see exactly what I was seeing, but I will kind of talk you through some of what I did. So I started off in our bathroom. I gave one of our little ladies her spring haircut, and I thought that that would be the perfect opportunity to try the new vacuum. So without knowing exactly what the settings meant on the high torque cleaner head, I just left it in the middle. And then just to start from the bare bones, I kept the suction setting on Eco, which is the lowest suction setting. It's the one that will save you the most battery. The bathroom floor is a regular tile, and then I'm not sure how much you can see because her hair kind of blended into the tile a little bit, but I wanted to show you the exact situation I was working with. A lot of hair, a lot of clumps of hair, not just loose hair. So what I would see with my V7, that is a situation where I would go in and use the max. I would not use the regular. I would do the max, and I think it would probably work just fine. Or I would have to pick up the clumps just with my hand, throw it away, and then go back in with the regular, and then it would pick everything up. And I didn't find anything wrong with that. I think that's reasonable. I don't want to be not nice to my vacuums if it's a large clump of hair, which could cause a clog more easily and, you know, disturb the mechanics of the vacuum. I don't want to. I think it's perfectly fine if I either have to use a higher power to help it just pull it through correctly the first time, or if I have to help it out and clean it up a little bit initially. But just for my first attempt, I did not do any of that. Again, I was on the lowest section. I just went right over it and it picked it up the first time. There was no weird noises, no signs that it was struggling, absolutely nothing. And that was the first sign that even though I didn't think I was struggling with power with my V7, I realized, oh my gosh, I've been missing out. As much as I love my V7, I did not realize what I was missing. So that had me so excited. That was the first test. It did wonderfully. And then I showed you how well it emptied. One thing I liked about just initial emptying into the trash can is that I didn't need to reach my fingers up into the canister to remove any lumps or blockages. It all just emptied really quickly, really efficiently. But I'm happy that I didn't need to remove any large clumps or anything. I could just empty and it was pretty much all clear. No problems at all. Like I said, it all came right out as soon as I opened it. Just like any vacuum, you do need maintenance. You do need to keep it clean in order for it to be a good cleaning tool. Why would you want to clean something with a dirty tool? It makes sense, but especially with vacuums, I did not think about that until semi-recently. But the Dyson vacuums are really, really easy to take apart. They're not intimidating, and they have very, very thorough videos on their website and on YouTube that are very easy to follow. Even if it looks intimidating, watch a video and they set you up for success. Even though this emptied really, really easily, I also know that as I'm doing maintenance and deep cleaning within it, then I know that it's going to be a really easy process. Moving on, I tested it on the carpets down here. I did this entire section. There was a good surface area here. It's right by our back door where the dogs go in and out. The carpet is just pressed down so easily all the time. Again, I didn't think I had power issues with the V7. I would go over this area. It would leave some lines, but it wouldn't really fluff the carpet. It would pull up a lot. You could see all of the gross stuff in the canister. So it's not like it wasn't doing its job. It wasn't cleaning the carpets. But when I put the V11 on this area, it fluffed up the carpets like I barely see after shampooing. It does it for a little bit with shampooing, but it doesn't last very long at all. This left it fluffy. I didn't think it was possible. And again, it was on the Eco. What I ended up doing with this area was I did one section with Eco, one section on Auto, and then one section on Boost. I was impressed with all three. I could see the canister filling up with all three. I could see it fluffy, which I felt okay with using the V7 because I could see the canister. So even if, you know, the carpet wasn't nice and fluffy, I could see that somehow it was still getting stuff out from under the fibers. But seeing it fluffy, it looks, I feel like I'm using, I had a nickel for every time I've said fluffy. When there's signs that it picked up the carpet, it just, visually to me, that looks more clean than when it's laying down flat. It looks newer, it looks fresher. I feel like because all of the carpet fibers were pulled up, that means the vacuum is more successfully pulling up any dirt as well. So even though I could see in the canister the V7 doing its job, it still didn't really look like it on the carpet. But using this on Eco, on Auto, on Boost, it just picked it up so much more so than the V7, and that made me feel really, really good. The Boost, I will say, definitely clung to the carpet more than the Max does on the V7, which on one hand makes you feel like you know, it's doing its job. But on the other hand, it makes the vacuum almost feel heavier because you're having to pull harder. So I guess that is the only thing I would say. But like I said, even the Eco, I feel like almost does a better job, or at least just as good of a job as the Max on the V7. So I don't feel like I have to use the boost real frequently. I don't mind. I am so happy with it. I will show you the video. Again, I hope you can see a little bit of a difference, but for the most part, each section looked visually about the same. Again, the carpet just looked way more refreshed than when I vacuumed it previously. The biggest difference I found was in how much I collected in the canister. If you guys have any questions, if there's anything I didn't address in this video, please comment down below. Please ask me. Like I said, I intend on doing an updated review on this, but let me know if there were any questions or anything I didn't answer, and I will let you know. I have absolutely loved my Dyson V7 Animal so much. It got my husband and I excited about vacuuming. That sounds really lame. Find excitement in the little things. But yeah, it got us excited about vacuuming. It made it a lot easier to establish a routine that made it a much smaller, easier, more manageable task than a long process that we dreaded and then just became longer because we waited and the carpets and floors were more dirty, and you know how it goes. So I recommend the Dyson V7. Like I said, if you get it new, I'll put a link for it down below. I know Sam still sells it for what I think would be a very worthwhile price for what you're getting. So if that is something that interests you, if you think that would work for your space, I think, especially, you know, brand new at a good deal, I think it's worth it. I think the battery life, even if it's not nearly as long as the V11, I think it will do the job. And like I said, I just kind of worked with it. I kind of knew that I would start on the upstairs. I would do pickup, dust, vacuum, mop, and once I was done with the vacuum, it would go back on the charger, and then I would come downstairs, do the exact same process, do the pickup, dust, and then by the time I got through those and got back to the vacuum was ready. It's a really great vacuum. I've loved it so much. I really can't wait to pass this on to someone who will hopefully love it as much as I did and will still get a lot of good use out of it. And then I can't wait to continue using my new vacuum, having even more power than I thought I needed. So I'm just really excited. I'm really happy with this. Of the two, I feel like this was worth the investment. Not nearly as cheap. That kind of broke my heart a little bit, but I'll put a link down below. My mom was nice enough to use her Costco membership and pick this up for me, so I still got a fairly good deal. I think it was $120 off of the regular price, but yes, I will try to link that down below. I do think that even though it was more expensive, it was so worth it, and that is, you know, just with an initial trial. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you were able to learn something from it, that it helped you out, especially if you're looking at one of these. I can't wait to keep using it with these pups. My goodness. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, make sure you like it. Subscribe for more cleaning tool information, some lifestyle inspiration, lots of DIYs coming up, just kind of all the lifestyle inspiration, motivation you could possibly want. It's just, I'm here for you. I'm here for me to keep me accountable and keep me excited about some of this stuff. And I just hope I can pass that energy and that excitement off to you. And we can just kind of go through life and some of the mundane things together, and it can make life a little bit more exciting. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next time.